to know how to read, write, and count. If you can count money, read and write, you will fine. And you know, and the integrity that I spoke about, if that was deeply instilled in you, that's what he focused on. Things like tenacity. He believed in being, you know, dog, get on it, take care of it, you know, stay on it. His getting up in the morning, that was religious. He didn't believe that it was, you were lazy if you didn't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You know, he raised us to believe that, and this is a saying that I hold to, and I share it with every young person as well as anyone. Nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. He taught us that. He said that he'd get up, he'd come in take us down to the flower market early in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning.
And where was that? Where was the flower market?
Flower market was on 28th Street.
Okay.
Here in New York City. And we would get up every morning. He'd make sure that we got up in the morning, and he didn't care whether we had to go to school or not, go to the market. He wanted us to see. Actually, he wanted us to see the importance of being your own man and having being financially stable. So he would demonstrate these things by, we were little children, little boys, my brother and I, and he made sure that we saw the impact that it had having money. He would do things like, he would feel it, you know, he would always walk with a lot of cash. At that time, for him, that was important. It meant that you could do anything, he felt that you could do anything if you had some cash in your pocket. Cash money was, and so we would go to the flower market. He'd have a wad of cash here, a wad of cash in his pocket. He used to wear those flannel shirts, you know. It was a workman's uniform with a cap, you know, and
Was it a plaid flannel?
yes, that's right, that's the one. And he had pockets full of cash, and he would walk into the market. We'd go down to the market, and we'd walk into these various wholesale stores. And he'd walk in with the cash, with his hands full of cash like this. And those white men would jump. He wanted us to see how he made those men cater to him because of the cash. That was the power, you know. He would say, he said, you know, they don't like us, but you watch and see what I make them do. And he would walk in with that cash, and those guys would, good morning, Sammy. You know, because his name was Samuel Young. And they called him Sam. Now, if I go a little further ahead, I would say he started working in that flower market years before. And he earned his money, saved his money, and he opened his flower shop. So they knew him as an employee, and then they got to know him as a retailer who bought a lot of flowers and spent a lot of money. And he made them do, I mean, he had them jumping through hoops, and he wanted us to see that. So I think that was one of the fond memories that I have, was to see a black man standing up and being respected. But he wanted us to understand what it really was. You know, it wasn't respect because of, it was respect because of the money and the power that it gave him. And so So that spending time and spending time in the flower shop gave me the opportunity to meet some of the celebrities of the world, because everyone bought flowers from Carolina Flowers.
And where was it located?
It was on 7th Avenue, which was is now called Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard, 144th and 145th Street.
Okay.
And you know, he had everyone from Billie Holiday to Bumpy Johnson, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Sugar Ray Robinson. All these people were coming in and out of the flower shop. We saw them, you know, we grew up seeing these people. Al Jackson, it's just so many of them. And so that was special for me also, to be able to see these celebrities firsthand. Sammy Davis Jr., all of them purchased flowers from my grandfather. They all came. It was the thing to do, to buy flowers from Carolina Flowers here in Harlem. You know.
Was it at that time? Was there any competition?
Oh, there was a lot of competition. There were a number of flower shops in Harlem. Harlem, you know, it seems, as I remember, it was a flower shop on almost every other block, just like you see now with the bodegas. But we were the quintessential success story in Harlem.
Very good.
You know, we did everything. You know, my grandfather, he was very smart in the sense that we did a lot of funeral work here in Harlem. We were affiliated with a number of churches. All the churches came to Carolina to buy. My grandfather knew that if we were associated or affiliated with all the funeral homes in Harlem, then in the churches, that was the success. That was the potential success for Carolina. He knew that he would go, like, for example, we would go to the flower market, and he would buy all the flowers that were about to be, they were not dead, but they were being thrown, like 2 days old. He would buy all of that for a song to dance. These guys were happy to sell it to him. They thought he was
crazy.
Yeah, but what he thought, he knew was, if I'm doing this for a funeral, the flowers only have to look good for a couple of hours. So he would spend $100 and buy all the stuff that these guys were going to throw out tomorrow. He'd bring it up to the shop. We had 2 stores around the corner from he was in 2482 7th Avenue. Around the corner, he had a flower shop where all my aunt's grandmother, the women and kids worked in that shop. He would buy all those flowers, send them around the corner, and they would clean them, remove the dead leaves, pick them, make them look nice, stem them on the sticks. And he was able to make huge funeral pieces. And everyone was like, go to Carolina, you get the biggest, the most elaborate flowers. But it didn't cost him a lot because he was buying seconds. And he knew that the wake happened tonight, the funeral burial was tomorrow morning. They only had to look good for that amount of time. So he was able to
finesse it a little bit.
Yeah.
Make it better.
Yeah, he gave a lot. And then he was very generous as well. You know, he believed that you should give back. So we had these huge Halloween parties for children. And he would always donate to the various organizations. He was a Mason, so he had that connection. My grandmother was an Eastern Star. They had that connection. My aunt, Bertha Harris, which was my grandmother's sister
On your mother's side or your dad's side?
on my father's side.
Okay.
She was the first woman to receive the Frederick Douglass Award. She was the founder of an organization called the National Key Women of America. She was also pastor. She was a minister rather, and she was at Abyssinian and also Mother Side. So he understood how important it was to be involved in the community, and he did that. And he had relationships with each and every. I mean, it was very interesting how he operated, and I tried to run the business the same way, where my relationships with our politicians, good, but I also dealt with the guys the number bankers, the drug dealers, everyone, because to survive in a community like this, you have to be able to, maneuver around, communicate with everybody. So we did that. We had friends from all sides